dumb. Like we get to that point and he's like, I'm actually the last descendant of so and so. And it's like, oh my God. Like, are you serious, bro? Are you serious right now, bro?
Oh my god. You're so lucky we're recording already. It would have left on the spot.
Oh my God. But yeah, I was just welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. Long overdue episode. Um, this is a big milestone for us. It's our first movie. It's our first DC covered project, and it's our 33rd episode, which means we are a third of the way to 100. Let's give ourselves a round of applause,
Yes,
Charlie.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Um, as you can tell by the title, by the thumbnail, we're reviewing Black Adam DC drop. I believe DC's, correct me if I'm wrong, third comic book movie this year. Um,
The Batman, DC Super Pets, and this,
yeah.
yes.
Not their third DC project though, because
Yeah,
Peacemaker
Peacemaker.
and I'm not sure what else. I'm not the biggest DC guy. Anyways, we're here covering it because it was a highly anticipated movie. Lots of fun, lots of cool stuff in it. We'll get to it. First off, Charlie, how are you doing today?
It's a fantastic night. It's a real. It's getting colder outside. I'm more of a
Ooh,
cold guy myself.
yeah.
The heat can screw off, bro. I'm not
Yeah,
a like. It's way easier to warm up than it is to cool down. That's what I've always said.
there
And
you
so
go.
it's a nice night, nice mornings. So
Yeah.
not much to complain about. Other than this movie. But we'll get
Yeah.
into that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and you live more up north than me, so you're probably feeling it a lot more, feeling that cold a lot more.
yeah,
Um, it's getting into like the 70s, high 60s, which is like perfect here, especially whenever it's cloudy. Today I went to go, obviously I went to go watch Tar, and I was driving on my way there and on my way back. Like it was just overcast, nice, cool weather. It just felt perfect, and so I was like, thank God, dude, because I hate the heat because I also sweat easily. So um,
yeah.
it's and I get hot very easily. So I'm like, hell yeah, dude, I love this weather. I'm all for it. But it's about to get cold, bro.
Yeah.
So trying to
Probably
enjoy
what
this
you
while I can.
described is like my perfect kind of day.
Oh yeah,
Like high 70s probably.
yeah,
And then just like a little bit of wind and some clouds. Oh, dude,
yes.
that's a
It's
perfect
it's
day.
it's actually very windy right now and kind of like sprinkling. Perfect.
Oof,
Only thing
man.
that could make this better is if I didn't have to work tomorrow. I'd just lay
Yeah, just
down and
enjoy the night.
relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I gotta wake
Exactly.
up at 8 a.m. Some bullshit. Anyways,
SMH.
um, yeah, Black Adam 2022 release. We'll go through the scores right here on IMDb. And this is gonna vary a lot, and we'll talk about this obviously. But these scores, while I was looking at them, bringing them up, they're varying a lot. So we got Black Adam on IMDb a 7.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, this is pretty crazy. 40% critic score and a 90% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And then Metacritic, 41%, 41 on Metacritic and a 7.6 user score. So we can kind of see the difference between the critics and the audience, which I wish we could have had Ben on this episode because he broke it down perfectly in a TikTok video where he said the critics are looking for more than just a fun big dumb action movie, while the audience is just the more of the general audience is going to go into this and come out and be like, man, that was such a crazy fun movie because
Yeah.
at points it was, some of the action was, like I said, and saying big dumb action movie isn't calling it a stupid movie. It's just like it's a big dumb action movie. It's some popcorn movie. You can kind of turn your brain off and turn your brain off and watch.
Definitely
Um,
with this one.
yeah, exactly. So I guess that's kind of where the audience and the critic score, differs. On Letterbox, I believe it. Last time I checked, it had like a 2.9, so about the same there. Um, so yeah, what I want to ask first, actually, give us your score and your little quick review of the movie.
um, I've been bouncing around between probably like a 5 or 6 out of 10. Um, it is a like you described it perfectly. It's a you don't really have to think about anything. And I don't think this sounds, I really don't want to be rude, but it just seems like the writers didn't really think about much of anything either when it came to this movie.
Yeah.
And the specific big moving parts of the movie,
Yeah.
like the villain, I think the villain is atrocious. It's probably one of the worst villains I've seen in a while, actually. There's just little to no development of for him at all. And I believe we're going to be diving into full spoilers later. Not right now,
Yeah.
obviously, just because we're giving our summaries, but just a full warning if you guys haven't seen the movie yet. Um, but yeah, it lacked so much. I liked The Rock. I do think he brought more to it than I expected him to,
Yeah.
knowing his category of acting.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything revolutionary for him. I did enjoy Dr. Fate the most. He was probably the standout for me. I liked Hawkman as well, but it's at the same time it was like he existed to fight Black Adam, but the whole time it was just tedious, annoying little fights
Yeah.
that we knew, like, okay, Black Adam's whooping your ass. Like
Yeah.
this isn't really a competition here. And it was funny at points. I will give them that. And the people on TikTok that rave this movie for being funny, there are so many MCU style jokes in here, and those
Yeah.
same people that praise it for being so funny, C-Jax, are crapping on the MCU for having the same type of jokes.
Yeah.
Uh, but and I don't want to sound like one of those people, even though I just am. I am clearly. But it just, I don't know. There's a lot of parts to it that didn't work well, and it left me wondering why I didn't think they work well in comparison to things like that I like about, say, the MCU that other people don't like, and like
Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness and like certain aspects of Thor: Love and Thunder and whatnot. And the villain is, as I mentioned, is a huge part of that. It's just not compelling whatsoever. Even with Thor: Love and Thunder, I think was a bit more compelling villain wise, and I think they wasted that villain as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't want to compare too much. And I know there's some people that say you should lower your expectation, but this has been a good conversation too, but that I want to dive into later. But I'm rambling now a bit, so let's jump into what you think
Yeah.
about this movie, Aiden.
Yeah. I actually put my review on Letterbox, my short little summed up review. Go follow Aiden H Talks in the link tree. Go follow the Letterbox. Go support. I need more Letterbox followers and some more likes on my reviews. I put a lot of work into it. Put a lot of effort into it. Anyways,
True that.
I gave this movie a 6.5 out of 10. I said, which would be 3 stars, 3.5 stars on Letterbox. I said 2 stars for the visual effects, the CGI, the action, and the fight scenes. 1.5 stars for the lackluster story and side characters. Black Adam failed to make you care about the said side characters, and a second act that just constantly repeats itself and goes in circles. And by that, it was like you said. So we have Black Adam bad, Justice Society has to take him down. Whoop Hawkman's ass, Black Adam agrees to help the Justice Society. And then it's right back. Oh, and then something else happens, and then boom, Black Adam back to being bad,
Fight each other.
has to whoop Hawkeye's ass, and then agrees to help them out. And it was just like a little circle of that, and they're just destroying the city time and time again for stuff that I just ultimately didn't care about. Like for plot lines that I ultimately didn't care about. Um, Not only that, but the plot was carried by the people on Kondak, these normal humans that try so hard to fit in with these gods. And you could tell the writers tried so hard to fit them in with these gods, as if we even needed them as characters, right? Um, Bad actors. The line delivery was horrible, laughable at points. But yeah, The Rock, I think overall did an amazing job at Black Adam. He exceeded all my expectations. Not that I really had any, which isn't anything against The Rock. It's not saying anything bad. I just had no expectations of his performance going into this. And he kind of blew me away. I was really impressed with it, and I was satisfied with what he gave to the role. So, overall, I mean, there's a lot to love, but there's just as much, if not more, to dislike, which brings me all the way down to like 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. So that's kind of where I sit. So I totally agree with you. I'm glad we agree um, that this movie was not great.
Yeah, and to touch into and this is probably where we're gonna start diving into spoiler territory. Again, this is your warning. Um, we're not jumping in like huge spoilers yet, but just we're gonna start talking about the movie seriously. So yeah, there are like those characters in particular. I know everybody gives everybody else shit for talking bad on child actors and whatnot. But the one in this movie
That
was
is
just
rough,
yeah,
dude.
that was wow.
Uh,
It's like the part that got me was at the end when he's trying to get Kondak to rise up. It was like he's yelling, but he's not yelling, and I don't like.
Yeah,
Could this kid not yell? But anyway, it doesn't doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. Uh, overall, I just found it so like simple, overly simple, and it's not like the trailers literally spoiled like the twist, quote unquote, of the movie that Black Adam actually wasn't the original Black Adam. His son was. Like you
yeah,
hear it in the trailers. He says my son died in Kondak, and then so I got revenge for him. So
yeah,
that reveal was like it could have been cool, but I also probably would have seen it coming anyway. Just the fact they weren't showing his face at the beginning of the movie.
yeah,
I kind of figured like, well, okay, that's got to be like
yeah.
a. Also, to touch on the CGI real quick, tell me how 2011 Captain America looks
Uh-huh.
better at making Chris Evans looks smaller than 2022 CGI effects
It was
make
rough.
The Rock look smaller. Like,
Yeah,
granted, it all looked good pretty much, but there was the one part in particular when he says Shazam right in front of Hawkman,
yeah,
bro, that was horrible. That just looked atrocious.
yeah,
But I will say overall though the CGI actually really impressed me, and
yeah,
I did see, I don't know if I haven't looked into this myself, but apparently there were like 89 credited VFX workers on this, and then as opposed to like I can't remember which Marvel movie exactly. It was, I think it might have been Thor. There was like almost 300 credited on it, and it's like that's a
wow,
night and day difference. If that's true, that's absolutely insane, and it just shows what more time can do. If
yeah,
they, I don't really know what the timing looked like on this exactly, but if that's true, and again I don't know if that is, but overall I will say the CGI it did impress me. And again I want to touch on how Dr. Fate was a standout for me. I actually enjoyed his death scene. I've seen a lot of people say that they didn't like it that much, but
yeah,
it tore at my heartstrings a little bit. Maybe it was just like what like Hawkman reacting to it and whatnot. But even what he said, Dr. Fate, I think he said, for the first time, I haven't been able to see past this point, past whatever is about to happen, and it's
yeah,
beautiful. And I liked that. I liked that whole
yeah,
thing. Granted, it probably ran a little hollow because like there wasn't much there with that character. Um, there wasn't much build up to it at all. But again, he was which it's weird saying because he was this one of the standouts in the movie for me. Useless characters, I think Adam and what's her name? Twizzler? No, it's not Twizzler.
was it not
Twister,
Cyclone?
Cyclone. Yeah, I
Was
think
it
it's
Cyclone?
Cyclone.
Okay, cool.
I
Yeah,
think it is Cyclone. Just waste like why are they didn't serve
do
any
anything.
purpose. It seemed like they
Yeah,
didn't do anything but flirt with each other the whole time. They flirted with each other and didn't go anywhere, and it's like
yeah,
why were they here? I just don't understand. I get comedic relief, I understand it, but like everybody, this is like an MCU movie like where almost everybody cracked a joke at some point, and again some of them were funny. I liked Hawkman's like me and you, like
yeah,
every time that came up I was laughing, like
yeah,
that was funny. uh, but I don't know, like running away from like he's like, I'm closing in on your location, and then the bomb goes off behind him. I don't know. That was like it was
yeah,
okay for me, but I don't know. I'm harping on it a lot, and I really there's stuff that I enjoyed, but there's just so much that just fell so flat, and it sucks because I want the DCEU to be great. I really don't want it to suck, and
Yeah.
I do think this is better than some of like their lowest lows, Justice League and
Yeah.
um the regular cut of Batman v Superman. Actually, maybe even the regular cut of Batman v Superman might be better than this in my eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to rewatch the regular cut, but you know, this movie has so many faults, and I understand going in with low expectations and uh expecting too much out of this movie. I don't think I expected too much out of this.
No.
Everything that we got was just subpar, if not less. And it's not. I didn't go into this movie expecting uh, the Shawshank Redemption. I wasn't like, and that just should show you how lackluster it really was. If I went in with expecting nothing and then I got even less so, like that's
Yeah.
bad. That's not good. And it's it's just a whole ball of wax, and there's so little to even talk about in this movie because, like
Yeah.
you said, it just repeats itself. And so you talk about one thing, you basically talked about most of it, and
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, I don't want to say it didn't affect me or it didn't hit different, Dr. Fate's death. It's just why? Why I I'm sure they'll probably bring him back in the future. Why kill him? Why kill him off? He's such a cool character, probably like, the best or the second best character in the whole entire movie, and you kill him off. And not only that, I really hated when a Hawkman and Black Adam were standing next to each other, and he was like, I'm only here because of him. And Black Adam was like, I'm only here because of him too. And it's just like, when did y'all set that up? When were y'all supposed to be like really good friends to where like you're laying your life on the line for him? And I get it's probably like, he
Set him
freed
free.
him, set him
Yeah.
free and everything. It's just like, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I was just like, oh, okay. Um, and yes, man, that family, like granted the bigger dude was really funny, some
Yeah.
but there was some points where it was just like, okay, what the hell are we doing, bro? I he's like, I know how I die now, so I'm not scared. And he just starts hitting like these skeletons, which also are really stupid. Which, like I said, they're just trying to bring too much of the mortal humans into the story to where it's like, oh, now they all have to fight these skeletons and Kondak has to rise up. And it's just like, you don't need any of that. You don't need this annoying kid just going like me and my friend. We were watching the movie, and if you're watching on audio, I'm just holding up that stupid triangle that they were all holding up. And every time he did it, we looked at each other and laughed. And there was even a point where we were standing there like that in the theater because it was just so laughable. Just, oh my God, Black Adam, please. And it was just so stupid. And yeah, I agree. The ADR was horrible on this kid. And it's like they're shooting him from the back right here, right? And he's like talking. And they do this a lot in movies. And once you start noticing it, you can never not like notice it again. Where sometimes the character is talking and they'll have the camera behind them and their mouth just isn't moving and it's just the
Yep.
ADR
Or
or
it's
like
just moving in a different way than the
yes.
words they're speaking. Yeah.
And it's just always like I'm just always like I know in She-Hulk it happened when he was like when we saw Daredevil's helmet get revealed and he's like, do you not know anything about or just
And he's
client
yeah.
confidentiality, nothing to you?
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, and this one dude, it was horrible. I was like, what are we doing? He's like, Kondak, we must fight. And this little kid, you really think a whole bunch of grown-ups are gonna be out on the street like, yeah, little kid, let's go. Yeah, we support you. No, they're gonna be like evacuating or they're gonna be like, I don't know. It was so stupid, and I hated that little kid so much. I'm sorry, like this, it was so dumb. And every time we cut away to them, it was so dumb. And I said in my Black Adam in my full review, she's like, even the mom at some points, they get her on the ship or something, or I think they're talking to her on the ground, and then they get her in the ship. But she's like, I know more about this crown than anybody here. I know what we're dealing with, or something like that. And it's like, you have Black Adam himself standing right here next to you, someone who has literally come in contact, obliterated the dude that came in contact with this
That built the
crown.
crown. Yeah.
And you're sitting here like, I know more than all of y'all. I know what to do. And it's just like, stop. trying to write these boring ass characters into this story about gods and superheroes, like all this fun stuff. Oh hell yeah! And then we cut to this kid riding his skateboard, and it's like, what are we doing, dude? What are we doing? That was just one of the things I hated the most about the movie. I was like, this is so laughable, and this is just so like dumb. And
Yeah.
uh, oh, and don't even get me started on like the last scene before they. It was almost as bad as Fan Four Stick. I'm not kidding.
Oh, yeah, with the name thing, I
They're
saw it
like,
coming a mile away too, bro. I was like, "Yo, wait, they're still calling him Teth Adam right now. Like, what?
uh,
When is this gonna change?" And then it's,
yeah.
that name's kind of sold or that old fashioned. I was like, "Oh my god, this."
What should we call you? It's like, oh my god, it's fantastic. Wait, say that again.
There's so many
Fantastic,
things in this
guys.
movie
I
that I
got it.
feel like I'm imagining The Rock like really fought for to keep it in, and I feel like
Yeah,
that's one of them. And there's
yeah,
also the part where he ripped the villain in half at the end, and
yeah.
his head was just behind him, like, like I was like, that's a Rock thing, bro. The Rock wanted that shot in there so bad.
Dude, considering everything, I am so surprised that we did not get an eyebrow raise in the entire movie.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I was so expecting it for him to just one day be like, I was like, come on, just give it. I was expecting it so much to where I got to the point where I was like, just give it. I'm just like, please, if you don't, I'm gonna be upset now because I'm expecting it so much. But yeah, I mean, it's laughable. Like, what should we call you then? It's like, shut up, dude. But yeah, I mean, from the jump of the movie, I did not like the characters. They were a huge, letdown in the movie. But you brought up the humor, and yeah, some of it was very bad, especially like the kids and some of like the Justice Society's humor. But I won't sit here and lie to you and say that I didn't laugh every single time The Rock used his like catchphrase. And that one time where he's like flying him through the air, and he's like, "Tell him that
That
the Men
was
in Black
no,
sent
yeah,
you."
that was the one time I laughed at it. When he dropped the guy and he's like, "Be sure to tell him the minute." Like that's the one time I laughed at it.
Yeah.
And even I was surprised there was one that was in a trailer that I saw, but it still got a chuckle out of me when he gets a call from or I guess not a call, just like a mental projection of Dr. Fate after he chased the one guy to try to find the kid, like across the world or whatever, where he went
Oh,
in
yeah.
hyperspeed, and then he already threw the guy, and then he's like, "Bring him back. We'll interrogate him."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "You killed him, didn't you?" And then when the guy falls, he's like, "He didn't make it." I laughed at that. I was like, "Why am I laughing?" Like
Dude,
I saw this, but it's just funny. The delivery, it was good.
yes. Like there was some moments that were like genuinely hilarious, but then for every like really, really, really funny scene, there's three more just really bad and poorly executed line deliveries. Um, but I mean, yeah, it's there really isn't a lot to say. It's just
Yeah,
it is what it is. They had a lot of cool stuff. The lore I thought was very cool. Like the intro scene. Um, the animation was awesome. I really am getting so tired of this yellow tint on like,
yeah.
oh, we're
The
in
quote
Mexico, we're
unquote
in
piss
India. It's
filter.
like, yeah, this
Yeah,
like yellow tint, like, 'cause I mean, they're in Kondak the whole movie, so literally the whole movie has this yellow tint. It's
yeah.
like, so like the movie is just like orange. Like that's the best way I can describe the movie. Like, oh, how did Black Adam look? I looked yellow. Like, that it looked orangish yellow. That's about all I could say.
Great color grading, man.
Exactly. But
Um, one thing I will say is cool. That I noticed. For anybody who watches the Flash TV show,
mhm.
still or have in the past, I don't know. I don't think he's the current police chief anymore, but he used to be the police chief in the show. He was actually in this movie. He
Oh
was
wow.
the one of the citizens of Kondak. He was actually the guy when the kid was giving the speech towards the end of the movie. He was the one that stood up and he's like, "What are we doing?" I think he said something like that. And he's in
Yeah.
this movie a lot. He was like the main random citizen that they focus on. Um, But I was like, hey, that's
Interesting.
cool, man. An upgrade. Look at you. Good
Yeah.
for you,
Oh, so
man.
okay, yeah, yeah. Because I haven't watched The Flash. The thing about me is if I hear something's not that great, I'll probably avoid it. I just won't watch it. And so like I always, because that's the thing. People are like, The Flash is good up until like season so and so, but after that it's bad. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to just watch 3 seasons of a show and give it up. Like I want to watch
Yeah.
the whole thing. So like I've always stayed away from it. But that's interesting because I didn't know that obviously because I didn't watch The Flash. There was another thing. Oh yeah, so obviously the villain is horrible. The villain is just absolutely bad. What did you think about the character design and the CGI on him though?
That was the worst CGI in the movie, I think, was on him.
Really?
Yeah, no, genuine like
Oh wow.
he looked like a video game character, very through and through. I think it looked like a video game cutscene. I will give them that. And video game cutscenes nowadays look much better. But like you can like, there's no. I think Steppenwolf looked better in not in
Oh
normal Justice League, but
yeah.
in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Uh, it's just it like he had super smooth skin. Like his animations just never were very. I don't want to say thought out, but just smooth and I don't know. It was very stark and ugly to look at for me. I don't know. I thought so many other things worked better. I even no, I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna say the downplayed Rock looked better than that, but that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I'm not gonna say that.
Dude, it was so weird seeing The Rock as like not swole
It
mountain
was. It
human
was super
being.
weird.
I was
It was
like,
super weird.
ugh. Wait, they couldn't like shrink his head a little bit? Like that
Yeah, because
was
his head still looked the same size. It's just a huge head.
you like a Funko Pop, dude. Oh my god, he looked like a um an off-brand Funko Pop. But um I thought I guess I thought his design was super cool, which led me to think
I agree
like
with that.
which like tricked me into thinking the CGI was really cool. But yeah, I was like, man, this is a really cool villain. It's cool seeing them all fight and everything. And seeing Hawkman duplicate and all that and being like an old friend taught me that. Like I thought all of that stuff was like kind of cool. Um but the lead up to that and like the who the villain actually it was just so dumb. Like we get to that point and he's like, I'm actually the last descendant of so and so. And it's like, oh my god. Like are you serious, bro? Are you serious right now, bro?
Oh my god. You're so lucky we're recording already. I would have left on the spot.
Oh my god. But yeah, I was like, are we serious, dude? Like, we just bring the like, okay, yeah, they teased it in the beginning, but even then, I was like, as soon as it happened, I was like, okay, this is dumb. Please don't go this route. Um, and then they just bring it up out of nowhere, and he's like, oh, I'm retaking the crown, and then takes it.
I'm the last descendant of this guy. It's like,
Yeah,
what? Well,
it's like,
like, what are we? This is coming out of nowhere.
yeah,
Obviously, from the beginning, like you said, like even just looking at him in the car, like, okay, this guy's a bad guy. He's up to something. He's asking too many questions, that type of thing.
yeah,
But there was no set. Like, why do I care about this guy? I don't know his motivations. I know he wants the crown. I don't know
yeah.
why he wants it until he actually has it. Like, I'm the last living descendant. And then what was the thing with the throne? Also, why did they say, don't let him get to the throne? Where did that come from? Did I
I
miss
don't,
something with that?
I,
Because
I don't know,
obviously,
dude.
when he sat on the throne, that's when the army came up, and the
Hmm.
army just came out of the ground, whatever. But when was that established that if he sits on the throne, that bad
I
things were going to happen? I don't remember that.
I think it was literally just Dr. Fate's visions. It was just like,
That's
oh, all of
wild.
this would happen if he sits on the throne, or and then also I guess like the fight when Black Adam first goes in and just has like a like I'm trying to compare it like oh man, I know there's something to compare it to that's came out recently where he just like loses his mind. It's kind of like Professor X and Logan, where he kind of just blacks out and like
Okay.
freaks out and
Yeah.
his powers go crazy. Um, I know that that dude was sitting on a throne, and I guess he kind of had power or whatever, or he had like a kind of a chokehold on everyone. And he had the crown, so maybe that's why. Like, oh, and then if I sit on it, the
Yeah.
same thing will happen. But honestly, I can't give you a straightforward answer. I have no idea.
Also, speaking of lore, I just saw a video today actually. In Shazam, uh the wizards are telling Billy of the past and how the powers worked.
And that same
And
dude
yeah, it's
is
the
in
same
there.
guy. And that's cool. That's cool. That's like the interconnectivity. But I feel like it's the little things like this where DC drops the ball. And it's not like Marvel's never dropped the ball like with plot holes and whatnot either. But in Shazam, he's telling this story with all these glowy particle things. And the wizard tells him, we once imbued someone with our powers, but they used it for revenge to kill someone. So that's all lining up so far. And then it says that in using it for revenge, they released the 7 deadly sins on your world. And so when did that happen? I know that there was 7 demons or something to do with the crown, but the
Huh.
crown was obviously still intact and still lived on for those 5,000 years. So where did the demons come into play? Obviously, maybe it happened and it just wasn't shown to us. I don't want to completely write the possibility of that sort of thing off, but it's like those little things. You establish something like that in Shazam, and then you give us the opportunity to see that, and then we don't see
Yeah.
it at all. And it's also they didn't imbue him with the powers. The person they imbued then gave his power to his dad, and then his dad then went and did that. So I mean that's a minute thing, that's a nitpicky thing,
Yeah.
sure, that's minuscule, but
But it's
overall
like,
it just shows a lack of like cohesion and a
yeah,
lack of like care of wanting to do that. So I hope James Gunn can
exactly.
turn that around.
Yeah, I mean, if you want interconnectivity, then those minute things should, you know, pay off. You know, even
Yeah.
no matter how small they are. If you want that interconnectivity, if you want your DCU, you know, your big rebrand, your like your hierarchy of power to change, like you need those things to make sense. You need that to come in. Um, what do you think about the slow motion? I
Okay, I actually liked the first one. I did. I
Yes,
liked the
yes,
first one actually. I knew it was just a straight rip off, but I
yeah,
actually enjoyed it. But the one with Hawkman in the house, overdoing it, man. Like
yeah.
every hit was slow-mo for like no reason. You're just slamming it, like you're just showing him destroy all the
Justice League.
Justice League posters. And it's like, why?
I thought it was cool. Like it was
It
cool.
was
Like
visually cool, sure.
yeah,
It's just we're overdoing it. Like I'm
yeah,
bored at this point, and I don't know what the significance was of like, haha, look, all the DC heroes are getting destroyed, even though it's just their posters. Like
yeah,
I don't care. Like, I don't know. I don't understand. But the first one I thoroughly enjoyed. I actually thought it was really funny, like taking the grenade that was thrown at him and then putting it in the guy's mouth. I
yeah,
thought that was funny. I thought that was fun.
yeah. Um, yeah, man. It's so extremely overdue. Whenever um, Doctor Fate breaks him out of that underwater jail cell, and he has to like fight all the guards, and it was just like every single time we're just going in slow motion, and I was getting to the point where I was like, dude, come on, like this is a little bit much. Um, I thought I thought the like the whole Justice League, that whole scene, like I thought it was cool. Like I thought the metaphor was cool. Like, oh look, should you know Black Adam's quite literally sh- like
Changing the hierarchy of power.
yeah, basically it's quite literally changing the hierarchy of power. Um, but yeah, just way too much of it. And that was like kind of a gripe I had with like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like it's cool. Like, you know, like I'm a sucker for those scenes because they're like very
Yeah.
visually pleasing, especially like the Quicksilver like slow motion scenes.
Yeah.
Granted those are like way different, but Black Adam kind of had that like first one like you were talking about. But after six, nine, 10 of them, it's just like, oh Lord, come on. I know a lot of people were complaining about that.
And it's like the slow-mo for saving the kid too. It's like I get the tension building, I
Yeah,
understand it, but we've already seen him catch bullets in his
yeah,
fingers earlier in the movie. You expect me to believe this is like I I 100% already believe that he's faster than a speeding bullet. There's no
Yeah.
tension here. You already showed him catching multiple bullets before. So
Yeah.
there's nothing here that's really bringing me in a sense of, oh my gosh, like, is he actually going to get to him?
Yeah.
And then it's like, one thing for me that was, and this is another nitpick thing, like they turn off the portal to let the woman through to give her to give the crown. It's like, you're
Yeah.
faster than a speeding bullet. You see that thing turn off, you should be going in there
Yeah.
on go mode. Like, I don't understand, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, just a lot of like, and that's the thing, they're falling into like the Captain Marvel problem of it all, to where like Captain Marvel is so powerful and just like nobody stands a chance, to where in her own movie you have to make her forget who she is half the time, or else she just obliterates the competition. And coming back in Endgame, you have to have her go off world and then come back at the last second, just so that we have an actual good fight and not just Captain Marvel destroying everybody. And it's like, where do we go from here with Black Adam? Like, granted, we have the post credit scene, and we have like Shazam, everything set up with that. But it's like, when you bring Black Adam back, I mean, that dude was so powerful, like so OP. How are you gonna work him into any conflict or any storyline from here on out?
Yeah.
Um, so that too, it's kind of like, we'll see. And I wouldn't be surprised if like in the next movie he gets nerfed a little bit, and we just kind of have to sit here and accept it, and we're just like, oh well, he was super strong in his origin story, but after that, nothing. um Also, you've played the Injustice games, right? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
um I was a Black Adam main, so like I always use Black Adam. I thought he was super OP. So that first like fight scene where he's just like going around just like and even the one with where they're playing Kanye West in the background,
Hmm.
heavy, heavy, heavy Injustice vibes. I was like, dude, this is great. Like, it, like, how they kind of like they're like floating with their arms in the air, like in a
Yeah.
fight move. There was a couple moments where he would like finish flying and he would sit like that for a little bit and then go right back in, and I was just like, yes, dude, this is so fire.
There was little details that I loved as well, like that. Like the fact that he like floated around everywhere instead of
Yeah,
walking. Like, it's like, that's so true, because like, if I had powers like that, if I could fly, like, I'd
yeah,
float. Like, why would I walk? I'd
yeah,
float, you know? Um I wish well, no, actually, I think it worked rather well. The moment he finally walks is when he's like giving up his powers. So
yeah,
I think that worked a little bit well too. And obviously, you can point out the Injustice to Doctor Fate thing as well, which I didn't catch. I caught a different
yeah.
one. At least I thought it was, but I looked up gameplay of Doctor Fate in Injustice 2, and he never did the move. It's when he goes up in the air while he's fighting the final bad guy,
Yeah,
and then he shoots down his little symbol thing.
yeah.
I've seen that somewhere, and I thought for sure it was Injustice, but I looked it up and he doesn't do that move at all. It's
Really?
not in his special move. Yeah. I mean, unless I didn't do thorough enough research, but yeah, I could have sworn it was an Injustice, but I
Yeah,
didn't see it. I I did see the finger thing that he does
yeah.
where, but that's all I saw. I didn't see
Huh.
I could have sworn I did, but I digress. And then there was the moment between the mom and the her brother. I For some reason I couldn't remember that. I guess it wasn't really a moment, but I thought it was funny. Like when they were doing the countdown at the beginning of the movie, he's like, "I'm gonna kill your brother in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1," and then she comes out. He's like, "One? You let him get to one?"
Oh yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Like I said, he was very funny, and it was it was kind of funny when he's like, "How do I die?" And he's like, "Just stay away from electricity." And he's like, "I'm an
I'm an
electrician."
electrician.
That was pretty funny. And he had his moments, of course, but then again, he really didn't have a lot to do either. Um,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, I don't know. Like I said, we went in circles so much throughout the movie. Um, and there was one more thing I was gonna bring up about him that is completely slipping my mind. Oh man. Oh yeah. So there was a scene. It's in the first trailer. It's like the stinger at the end. that I always hated for some reason. It was just always like it was weird because like if you watch the first Black Adam trailer, it's like all this music and it's that same old song, the yeah, that
Yeah.
stupid song, and then the music cuts out, and then it's like that van, it's the mom and her brother, and the music cuts out and they like see Black Adam and then they're like rolling up the windows, which granted is like funny, but it's just like it's edited so weird and it's cut so weird. I don't know. If you have a chance, go watch it. And it's just like, okay, rolling up the windows and okay. And then all of a sudden Black Adam shows up and then he's like, a bomb. And so he grabs it, it explodes, and then the car moves like this. Like which and you would think the car would be blown into bits, but whatever. Car moves like this, and then Black Adam's hand comes up like that, not like a. It'd be cooler if he just came up out of the smoke and knocked on the window, or came up out of the smoke and looked at the window. But he's like smacks his hand on the window as if he's like, "Help! I'm like super wounded," and it's just like, what are you trying to tell with like this stinger? Like, oh yeah, he just held a bomb and it exploded and he's still alive, but then he like is dragging his hand on the window like he's in desperate like need for help. I hated that scene, and then watching it in the movie, I hated it even more. And I don't know, I just felt like I had to bring that up.
There was one I can't remember if it was that part, but one of the things that the guys fired at him had like eternium in it,
Yeah,
and eternium can hurt him. And I don't know if that was if it
I
was that
think
rocket thing or not.
yeah, it might have been, but I can't remember if like afterwards he's like down and he's like, oh, oh no, you know what? Wait, was he passed out after that, or did he go and kill some other dude?
He whenever he got hit by the eternium thing, he killed the guy pretty brutally, and then he flew away. And then the brother was like, "Well, hopefully we never have to see him again." And then he like
And then
falls down onto the ground. Yeah.
yeah. And then he's passed out. Okay, so that's acceptable. Still really hate the way the trailer's edited. I that last little stinger, it's just all over the place, and I'm just kind of like, okay, what the hell are we doing? That makes a little bit more sense now. I totally forgot about the movie or that part in the movie. I watched this like very long. Like when did it come out? It didn't come out last week, right? Or did it?
It came out last
It
week. Yeah.
did. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because that's it. Jesus, my memory's horrible. Well, there's also the movie's very forgettable, so I say
Truly,
that.
truly.
Honestly, dude, I'm looking through my notes. It hit about everything, bro.
I guess yeah, the last thing was
And
probably
now we
just
have to get the post credit
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
Damn, that post credit scene, man.
It was
Oh,
cool. Yeah.
well, before we get into that, I guess kind of when he Shazams up again, right, turns back into Black Adam, his suit was different, right?
Yeah, it came back
It
like
was more
because
of
he
a
didn't have
comic
the
accurate
gold
suit.
gauntlets and then the gold
Yeah.
boots.
Okay,
Yeah.
that suit was so fun.
Was.
The costume
Yeah,
design, dude.
truly.
Oh, the costume design is amazing in this movie.
Truly.
I
I
gotta
hope
give
they
it
don't
that.
mess it up though, because like with Shazam 2, I think that
Yeah,
the costume coming up is going to be a slight step back. So I hope they don't do the same thing with Black
yeah.
Adam.
Okay, yeah. Now we can get into the reason why this movie has a 90% audience score and trailer.
Truly.
Yeah,
Hey, I got excited about this because
yeah,
I like Superman. He's my second favorite superhero, and that's only because of Smallville. If you've
yeah.
never seen Smallville, Smallville is really,
Heard it
really
was real
good.
good.
I just want to say, Jalen, if you're listening to this, you're probably not listening to it. Not that it matters, but I was on that stuff before you, bro. Just saying, I was on that before you, dog.
Man,
It don't matter. But no, Smallville actually, like, as much as I'm joking, like Jalen's absolutely right. Like Smallville is fantastic. Smallville is a fantastic showing of who Superman is as a person and as a character, and made me fall in love with the character. So, and I've always believed that Henry Cavill can do so much for the role. I think he's perfect, the perfect Superman. Just he was never been given the proper opportunity to showcase how he's the
yeah,
perfect Superman. And so having him back and with the announcement of Man of Steel 2 coming, that is utterly great news. Utterly great
yeah,
news. That is seriously great stuff. And I mean, again, I'm still not gonna. I'm never gonna forgive WB for canceling Batgirl, but
yeah.
this is a step in the right direction. That's for sure,
Imagine James Gunn just brings it back. He's like, you know what? We're gonna
dude.
put it back out.
I
Oh,
honestly
that,
thought about that. I thought about that today. or
Hey,
at
if
work.
if it happens, this is getting clipped. We said it here first. What day is that? October 27th. If Batgirl somehow just reappears and gets dropped because of James Gunn, we said it first. Um,
Amen.
Henry Cavill also said he's excited to play, and I think he said an enormously joyful Superman
Yep.
or an extremely. That makes me so happy because I kind of got tired of the whole like that scene in Man of Steel where he like takes that dude's truck and just absolutely like sticks like a tree in it or pulling like
Like,
it's
it's hard, it's
cool,
cool,
but
yeah, exactly, but that's
that's
not
not
Superman.
Superman.
Yeah.
That's not Superman. And so I'm like, I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. Um, but what he did with Superman, it's just like I kind of want to see something else. I kind of want to see the hopeful, like, we don't need to make Superman a Jesus figure. Like I'm kind of tired of that. We don't need him to be
Yep.
like, I always felt his hand on my shoulder. We don't need all that. But dude, I will say, dude, when Superman came on screen, bro, I was screaming and standing up, jumping out, recording my. No, but it was a very hype moment. I was like, oh, I did loudly say, "Oh my god," and I like nudged my friend, but other people were cheering in the not super loud, but it wasn't. I wasn't being obnoxious. So it
I
was a
just didn't have a
really
visceral reaction like because I knew it was in there. I
yeah,
knew it was
yeah,
in there. It was cool to see. I just
yeah,
like and the even leaks. I looked at it I didn't look at the whole thing beforehand, but I knew
yeah.
it was in there. So I mean, it was still
So
exciting to see in full
I knew it
fledged.
was in there too. The thing is, dude, I always feed off of other people's excitement a lot. So my buddy didn't know Superman was in it, and so when he saw that post credit scene, he was like, "Oh, what?" He started freaking out, and I was like, "Yes, sir!" And I started like, and because I did the same thing with because I watched that movie with him and my other buddy, Venom: Let There Be Carnage. The Spider-Man post credit scene. Obviously, I already watched the post credit scene when it leaked 1,000 times, and so I knew it was coming, but they didn't. And so when they saw it, they were like freaking out too. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, so I feed off of other people's excitement. So I
That's hype.
decided to give out a little reaction. But I, I can't get over that damn curl, dude. Oh, it looks so good.
It
It is
does
just,
actually.
I'm so obsessed with it, bro. I just that, the brighter suit. Um, very excited. Just seeing him and The Rock stand off against each other had me so giddy. Like that's something that a leak, seeing that leaked online, it doesn't give you that same feeling versus watching it in the theater.
That's fair. Yeah, the full like I was saying, the full HD, like it's a wonder to see. Um, yeah, and that's another point too. Just like seeing them stand at odds with each other, which I more want to see Black Adam actually go against his hero Shazam,
Yeah.
but all in due time, it'll happen.
Yeah.
But this is still a fight I very much want to see. So,
Oh yeah.
and we all know that it's coming now. So, and hopefully with
Um
DC under better leadership, it's gonna be sick.
yeah, speaking of that, I guess we can touch a little bit on that on James Gunn turning to the dark side. Um man, um pretty insane news
Didn't see it coming.
coming out of this weekend. Yeah, dude. I mean, co-CEOs or like what was it? It
Co
was something like that.
presidents, I have no idea.
Yeah. Um I I knew obviously we knew that Guardians was going to be James Gunn's last project for Marvel. Didn't expect him to jump all the way to DC.
Yeah,
Definitely
full
didn't
in.
expect. I'm kind of like the Marvel part of me is kind of jealous and sad. The like hopeful DC fan in me is like very excited.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to feel, man. I'm
There
like, damn,
I'm
you know.
excited. It's just like there's people already spouting off like, "Oh, we're going to get Marvel DC crossover. We're going to get Marvel versus DC." Like
Oh my God, what?
I I won't lie, it's more possible than ever now, sure. But
Yeah,
like there's so many moving parts to that. Like we still know that WB is very hard to work with, clearly.
yeah,
I mean, granted now that um I think his first name's Walter. I know his last name's Hamada. We know
White,
he's out now. What'd
Walter
you say?
White, Walter White.
I swear, dude, your eyes. Walter White. Oh my god.
I was like, damn, I kind of feel bad. I don't want to say because you're like, what? And I was like, nothing. Sorry.
I said I didn't know if you said what. I thought you were
Uh,
correcting me on his name. Um, but
anyways, yeah,
um, just like with them canceling Batgirl and everything like that, and there's rumors that they're not. I mean, there's not rumors, but there was worry that they'll cancel Blue Beetle and stuff like that. You know,
yeah,
they're what WB is hard to work with. So, and Disney, I imagine, is hard to work with as well. Two companies that are hard to work with, hard to like get things done about in the way you want them to be done specifically.
yeah,
Um, Granted, again, closer than ever, we have two people that are in charge of the different aspects of each thing, Kevin Feige and James Gunn, and they know each other. They've worked together. They know each other well. And so closer than ever, but I'm not gonna bet on it. Like
yeah.
DC has a
No,
lot more work to do before they can start thinking about anything like that.
yeah. Both. I mean, both sides have a ton to do. I mean, think about like, oh yeah, well, let's just say a time frame of like 15, 10 years. Like these dudes are gonna be old, bro. Like these characters are going to be so old. I mean, at least the
Yeah.
actors that play them are going to be really old. So I don't know. Like thinking about stuff like this kind of like makes me wonder. Like, what is this? Is there ever a stopping? Like, are superhero movies ever just gonna like stop? Because like right now we're in the peak of it all. Like we have our universes, we have like all of our new superheroes. Like back then we had like, oh, here's a Hulk movie, oh, here's a Spider-Man movie that we can do like that we can stretch out to three.
Yeah.
Um, here are our standalone superhero films. Now we're in like the connected universe of it all. It's very rare to see like one-offs unless it's by DC or unless it's Sony making something. But right now, like all of these characters are controlled. Is there ever a stopping point for like superhero movies? Like, are we ever gonna get to the point where it's like almost every story, if not every story's already been told? Like, there's nothing more we can do. Like, it's scary
I
to think
think so,
about,
but
but
it's a long way off. I feel like
yeah,
it's.
yeah,
I mean, we haven't even touched on mutants yet in the MCU, and then
yeah.
DC hasn't even gotten their flying
They
foot
haven't got
off the
anything.
ground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anything at
so
all.
their story is hopefully just beginning, and
I
it's in
really
its
hope so.
grand stage. And so,
Yeah,
and if their lifetime is going to be anything like Marvel's, then there's a
yeah.
long way to go.
Oh
But I
yeah.
definitely think there is a stopping point to some degree.
I wonder. I wonder when that'll be. Anything else in terms of uh you know our little our DC family out there. I will say because obviously we can get into like the William Jackson Harper of it all, the Doctor Doom of it all, but we'll probably save that for another episode if we need like
Yeah.
something to talk about. Excuse me, but as for DC, is there anything else? I feel like we've touched on about everything.
I mean, there's all the new like Batman sequel. We already knew about that.
Yeah,
The little side projects that are gonna be in the works, like Scarecrow, Professor Pig, and Clayface.
yeah.
Um, Flash 2 script is already written for some
Oh,
reason.
jeez.
But and then Man of Steel 2, which we already talked about, and then Wonder Woman script is almost finished. Wonder Woman 3.
Huh?
Yeah, I think
That's about it.
that's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes Black Adam. Um, you know, if you just want to throw something on and just turn your brain off, this is definitely the movie for you.
Barely look at it.
Yeah. This was our Black Adam episode, our 33rd episode. Yeah, we're a third of the way to 100. Been a long journey. This is a nice little milestone. I think we just hit 250 listens on Spotify.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, we're in a nice little spot. It's our first movie. Plenty more to come. We got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever in 2 weeks, just about. Yeah, exactly 2 weeks actually. Um, Early reviews have dropped. Go check those out if you want. Very little negative reviews, which is a very good sign. Let's see, Charlie. Um, Anything you want to shout out?
You know, over on TikTok, YouTube, creating on TikTok. My name is It's Cubson. YouTube is just Cubson. I talk about all sorts of gaming and Marvel, DC, all that lovely, doubly stuff. And we're gonna try to get some more stuff out for you guys over these next couple of dry weeks. I know we haven't done an episode on Werewolf by Night. We'll probably have to get that out if any of you are even still interested. But the week after that, we got Wakanda, and the first reactions of that um, have already come out, and people are loving it. There's so much praise for it. It makes me super excited to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was already excited, but it makes me hopeful for how I will feel about the movie. And yeah, then after that, I mean, we got Guardian Special coming out. We got a trailer for
Yeah,
that also
yeah.
coming out
Oh,
way sooner than I thought that it was
that's
going to.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. So then we only have that 1 week to fill up. But then after that, we have a whole 2 months, 2.5 months until Ant-Man.
Yeah.
So since we've started this podcast, we haven't had any downtime like that. I mean, 2.5 months.
That'll be a crazy downtime.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to figure out stuff. I mean, worst case scenario, we can just like if we have nothing to talk about and like say you go watch like Glass Onion. All right, let's talk about Glass Onion. Just
Yeah.
talk about a movie. Yeah, trying a whole bunch of new stuff. So um if you're listening on audio, 5-star review would definitely help. Any review will help. Um, Pushes this out if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. YouTube, drop a little comment, let us know you're listening, drop a like, whatever it is, sub to the channel. Any way you can show support, show the support. Or
Yes,
even if you
sir.
don't like us, man. Even if you're like, hey, Charlie kind of looks like The Weeknd. You'd be like,
Oh.
dude, no, your shorts, bro. Have you seen my comments on your shorts?
No, I don't think I have actually.
Oh my god.
Oh, I see it right here. Oh
Because
my god.
I saw one you posted, and like the first comment was, "Why does bro look like The Weeknd?" And everyone was like, "Nah,
Dude,
he's the after party." The Friday, Saturday. Or
dude, no, yeah, somebody said, nah,
This,
he's the Monday.
yeah.
Something like that, bro. It's
So,
like, damn. Okay, bro.
no, man.
Damn, I'll take that.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and guys. I started commenting on like almost all of your short, not almost all. I think I commented on like two of them, and someone replied to me, taking me serious, and they were like, "Dude, he actually does." And I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, I'm definitely being like satirical right here. Um, Anyways, yeah. I mean, if you want to drop, bro, kind of looks like The Weeknd. Go ahead. Any way to
Yeah,
show support, drop a
exactly.
comment, a
If you're out
like, or
here listening
something.
every time, like, and you're like,
Yeah.
you like our stuff and you haven't subbed yet, it's so easy. It's so easy, bro. Just go on in, hit that red little button. Actually, I think they just changed the color of it. Let
Did they
me
really?
let me double check. Yeah, yeah. I think they did. Hold on. Let me just click on a random channel here. Nope, wrong one. This one. Yeah, it's white now. It's white now. If
Oh
you got the new YouTube
wow.
update, it's white. Hit that little white subscribe button, and then it's gonna change to black. If you're on the dark mode, if you're on light mode, it's black right now, and yeah, it's
Oh,
black, and then it's gonna turn to white. I
there we
think.
go.
So yeah, and do that. It's super easy, super easy. It helps out a lot. Plus, hit that like button. You know
Yeah.
you want to. You like us. We like
It's
you.
just sitting
It's a
there.
mutual like fest.
Yeah, it's sitting there staring. You know what? We'll wait for you to do it. Actually.
Yeah, we got all day.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing to
Um,
us.
what are you waiting?
Somebody, we need a Jeopardy song. The Jeopardy song. You
Yeah, it's just gonna be dead silent. Um, anyway, you can show support. We take it. Yeah, 33 episodes down. Our first movie down. Plenty more episodes to come. Plenty more movies to come. Plenty more
Let us know what
nerdy
you thought of
content.
Black Adam in the comments.
Yeah, there we
Perfect.
go.
That's a perfect thing to put in the comments. Let us
There
know
we
what
go.
you thought. We want to know what you thought because I would, if you loved it, I would love to know why you loved it, because you got, whew, you gotta be
Oh
to love
man.
something that's so bad. You gotta be a
There you
special
go.
kind of someone. You
And you can
special. You
debate.
special. This is
You can
good.
you can debate with us, and
Exactly.
we got all the time in the world. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing some love. Um, Thank you for anyone that's commented, anyone that's dropped a like, anyone that's subbed to the channel, listened on audio, any way you want. This has been Black Adam. This has been Aiden. This has been Charlie. We will see you in the next one. Peace.
Adios.
And then Ben. Sayonara.